So today we're continuing our hunt for record book bucks in Deer Hunter 2005, and we're out here in Australia right now. I was trying to decide between Australia and Oregon, and I just think a record book axis would be a little more impressive than a record book blacktail, so we're going to do our best. We're going to hunt around and see what we can find, and hopefully we can get our name in yet another record book. And it didn't take long at all for us to find our first axis buck. It's kind of an interesting frame, and it's definitely not huge or anything, but I think that'll be a good one to start with. Might as well go ahead and try to drop him while he's broadside. I don't know if he stopped, or maybe just slowed down for a second. But I think that's going to hit him right in the shoulder. Actually had a doe running around there too, but looks like he's starting to stumble, so we'll just be happy with that and go and get him. And I did notice is that he was like a 7-point total, but I think he's just a normal 6. 132 score, so pretty close to the guess anyway. Not that bad. But I can't imagine that was anything but a normal 3x3. Now that at least looks a little bit better. The guess is pretty much the same at 132. I think it's a smaller frame than the other ones we got like that, because the shape that we've definitely had before. But I think, yeah, he's a little bit smaller general frame size. I gotta think that was a decent enough hit, and he's gonna go down. There was a doe to the left with him. So as long as we can go and recover him, I saw he was kind of starting to go down behind this brush right over here. We might be able to go and fill our doe tag pretty quickly, but I actually really want to know what this guy's going to end up scoring. 149, so it is a decent amount bigger than the last one. I was kind of curious, because I think that frame shape is kind of like the larger one, but he just had kind of smaller tines, and the last one we shot had longer brow tines, so it kind of makes sense that they were close, but at least he was bigger. It might be one of the smallest guesses for a doe of any species that we've seen. I mean, 79 pounds is pretty little, but it has taken just forever to even find a doe, and I think she knows we're here. Pretty sure that's going to get her in the lungs, but yeah, you can see it's like kind of mid-afternoon already. It's just been quite slow, but finally we got that tag filled, and I wouldn't exactly say that's the best sign going forward. It was 95 pounds, so at least a little bigger than the guess said. But yeah, we're going to try this again and hopefully not have it take that long just to fill 3 tags. That's got to be one of the best axes here we've seen so far. So just a 5-point at 192. I think I can see that he is a 3x3, but it kind of looks a lot like that one that we shot. I don't remember if it was last time or the time before, but it had a really big frame, but no brow tines. But this guy's actually got good brow tines, so before he goes trotting off somewhere again, I think we'll go ahead and hit him. That should have been kind of like right behind the shoulder, but he didn't really react that well. I'm not sure what happened there. Well, that definitely is not the one, but we may go ahead and take that just to get our other buck tag filled, especially when I'm not too sure what's going on with the one that we just shot at, but I think it might be good to get at least the other tag out of the way just so we can fully focus on that one, because it looked good. I'm just really not sure. We might break out the like the thermo goggles, because maybe it's laying here dead and I can't see it. I did actually mark it on the little mini map, so worst case scenario, we go all the way back, get the horse, and start running around and looking for a body, because like it's pretty open. I think if he's running around out here, we'd see him. And I mean, even seeing this guy down is not the easiest thing, and we know exactly where he drops, so that could be all it is. I didn't see any blood though. It's just so tough to tell, but anyway, that is a little 115. 215 pounds though. Actually, that looks like a good size axis here. Is that the one? I think it is. Do we get a 192 guess? So, I don't have a clue what happened, but even though it didn't do exactly what we wanted, apparently taking another one was a good idea because it got us back in the right spot. So hopefully this time we can actually make a better shot on him. And I really don't think we actually hit him the first time, to be honest. I can't imagine how, and I don't think you ever get the bullet cam if you've made a first hit, so the other shot must have missed. It felt like it would have been good. The only thing I could possibly imagine is the range. And even that I thought was fine, but got him down now. I'm curious what he's going to end up scoring and like what record book for them is. Because if I'm remembering right, our best axis deer was that one with the huge frame and no brow tines. And this guy looks like every bit of that plus all the brow tine length. Like, I've got to assume that's going to be our highest scoring one. 186 I would definitely say is, that's in the area of our whitetail and mule deer record books, so maybe that's going to be good enough. We still have our doe tag yet to fill, but that shouldn't be too bad. And once we get that, we can go back and see there is a deer over there. And it is actually a doe, I think, so we can go ahead and get that out of the way. Might as well just take the first one so we can go back and see. Might have been a bit back. I felt like we were right kind of like in that area of like back of the lungs, but pretty confident it's going to take her down. I am glad that we didn't end up needing the thermal goggles, but I feel like we got lucky to find our bigger axis buck again, and we kind of got lucky to just stumble upon that doe. But let's head back and take a look then. And by the way, at some point I really do want to get a non-typical axis deer, but our 186 is a record book buck. That's what I was hoping when I saw those antlers initially. He's got like a big frame, and then if we can compare with the other good one, this is the one from before. It's a 165 with no brow tines. Pretty similar frame. Maybe even a little bit bigger frame, but the brow tines made all the difference to get him above 180. But that's pretty cool. Got our third species in the record books now. And actually, during that last hunt, I think we reached the max kind of rank, because at 60.00, I want to say, other than like 0 at the very beginning, we haven't had like a perfect even number like that. So I bet that is the max. And at this point, since we got a record book axis deer, I think we might as well switch it up, and I'm kind of tempted to go back for a roe deer. But we've seen more and more like trophy-sized deer as we've kind of ranked up, and I want to see if we can do better for blacktail, because I think the last time we hunted them might have been the like second or third video in this game, so I want to give it a shot and see if we can find a better one. So finally, we have a blacktail buck out here. It's a 148 guess, but he's super massive, kind of like our record whitetail, to where the bases are like kind of visible in front of his forehead. And I don't know where he's going. I think he's actually with a doe. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but I've noticed a decent amount of bucks will follow does. And since she's down there, I think we better take our shot before he's out of sight. And I can't imagine that didn't get him somewhere fatally, but I'm gonna say that's probably our best blacktail so far. I can't even remember like what the best score that we've had is, but he's easily the biggest looking, and it's so hard to say because sometimes the guesses are way off. That might have been something pretty good for them, but I don't have a clue what we're kind of looking for. But at least he went down, and I mean, like I said, you can see the bases just like kind of going out beyond the model's forehead, which I gotta think is a good sign that it's about as big as the antlers get for them. It's surprisingly an 88-pound buck that only scores 134. So there's no way that's a record book or anything. It might just be that the antlers themselves were super like heavy and it was like large bases and stuff, and maybe not so much high scoring. It looked quite odd and quite big, but that might not even be our best. I can't quite remember. It's been, I don't even know how long since we've had to resort to hunting with a horse, but after that one buck, there's not been a whole lot going on, and it's almost noon now, so it's not been for lack of trying. We've covered some ground, but not many deer seem to be moving around, so maybe just kind of covering some ground quickly is going to make a difference. And it definitely didn't take long. That's maybe a decent buck. Nowhere near as massive as the other, but I don't know what exactly he's doing. Just kind of running back and forth at this point. We might be able to get a shot at him, maybe while he's going away from us. Pretty sure that'll have hit him. I really don't know if it'll bring him down. I don't know if that was a good idea to go for that or not, quite honestly, but it looked like a decent enough buck to at least try to get, especially after that's been pretty quiet. I think this might be a scenario where we do want to go ahead and try to fill our doe tag, because I'm not too sure what happened to the buck. I do know that we hit him. There was blood back there, but that's about all the info I have. So I'd like her to maybe lift her head. I think we'd get a little better shot at the lungs, but maybe this will work. Not the best thing that we're going to have to track yet another one, but I can't imagine she's going to go that far. And probably the move's going to be, we'll have to go back to our horse and try to just go around and do a bit of a body search, because it was not working too good trying to run around on foot. I think this is our doe here. I guess she's just going to go down in a minute. That was a little bit odd, but 73-pound doe. And then, yeah, I'm not too sure about our buck, and the plan was to try to get like a second shot at him, but as soon as we hit him, he was kind of just gone, so might not have been the best idea. We had just that one spot of blood that I mentioned, and that's been it, so I think, if anything, that taught us hunting with the horse on this map might not be a bad idea, but going for shots like that probably is, and if it wasn't for the fact that we did shoot a decent buck earlier, I think we'd kind of push our luck and try to get another one, but if I remember right, if you shoot more than 3 deer, even if you don't claim them, you do end up kind of being illegal and disqualifying everything. So I think we'll head back, because I want to take a look at that blacktail we did get, and I don't know what that did, but that got us a new skill point, and I believe it is the presence skill that actually lets you know if you're looking at like a world record or not, so we're going to go with that one, and I guess that wasn't the max then. It's 60, it must have just happened to be like 60.00, but anyway, let's go to the trophy lodge. He is definitely the blacktail buck we've taken with the most mass, but he's not the highest scoring. He was a 134. One of the ones from last time was a 135, but he's got like more points and longer main beams, so it kind of makes sense, but the amount of mass on this guy to where those bases are going out past the forehead is just ridiculous, and I think we'll give it one more shot out there in Oregon. We'll take the horse with us again, and maybe that presence skill being up a little bit will tell us a bit when we're spotting. I'm really not sure, but that's going to be the skill we try to max if we get another skill point here. I think that may be our strategy for at least a little while going forward, because it's already gotten us to a kind of similar buck to the first one. It's a 120 guess, but an 11 point, and he's kind of got that same thing going on where he's so like heavy antlered that they're kind of going out past what we can see on his forehead. But that's going to drop him, so we're not going to be letting that one get away. And I think the 11 might be correct. Sometimes the points guess is wrong, but I think he was a 5x6. And he seemed to have a pretty similar frame to our 130s, so curious to see where he ends up. And it's kind of a good thing that he dropped, because if we didn't know exactly where he was and he landed in grass like this, it'd be tough to find him. But only 112, it's going to be kind of interesting to compare the 134 to the 112. They're going to be back-to-back in the trophy lodge, so we can kind of swap between them really quick and see the difference. But I thought they might score a little closer than that. At this point, I'm honestly not too sure about the blacktail, but that is, at least with the guess, the highest scoring one we've seen. It says to 157. We'll go ahead and take that shot. And I gotta think, even though he doesn't have the mass of some of the other ones, that's gotta be our personal best blacktail. He just looks a little bit bigger, like frame-wise. And I don't know if like increasing our presence skill does anything for like how accurate the guess is, but I have noticed some of the previous guesses were way off, and at least the last blacktail, I think it was only off by 8, so that wasn't too bad. We'll take a look and see how close this is. I think it was 157 was the guess. We'll see what it ends up being, and he's kind of down in the grass again. Can't really tell too much for size there. But yeah, 154, so maybe that presence skill does actually make a difference. But that's going to be our best blacktail. And somewhere not too far down this way was a doe, so maybe we can fill that last tag and go and take a look at that guy in the trophy lodge. And I actually think that is the same one. I believe 98 pounds was the guess on the one that we saw before. And just like that, I think that's going to be our last shot of the video, but we managed to get one record book access. I really don't know for the blacktail, because there was the whole thing with that 130s where it felt like that was close to as big as the antlers could get, but obviously that wasn't even our best, so I wonder if kind of like some combination of the two where it's got more mass but then like a larger frame in general might be kind of like the ideal for them. We'll have to see, but 95 pound doe, that actually seems more accurate as well, which makes sense. It's part of the hunting guess too, but let's go see here. So no record book, unfortunately, for our 154 blacktail, but he's definitely the best looking one that we've gotten. And then we had that 112, which that's got to be like the exact same frame as the 134, and they're literally is like an upscaled size. There's a little bit of like tie length here and maybe a little more mass that's contributing to the 20 extra inches, but they look really, really similar. And I'm glad at least we could identify that. But I think this is more along the lines of what we're looking for then, like a larger frame, kind of like the mule deer actually, and maybe a little bit more width to them. But hopefully we can find a better one next time. I think that's going to be our focus next time we go out. we'll try to get a record book blacktail if we can, but not too bad getting a record book access deer. And actually, I think this presence skill may go a long way to help us out, but we'll have to see when we get out there next time. So anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.